that I did in this video was hand painted down inside the letters. I like that way of doing it because I don't get any bleed into the wood fibers. However, a much faster way to do that is to spray paint the surface. Now, to demonstrate that, I've made this second carving, and I made the carving in cedar also, like the first one. But this carving was very problematic because the wood was so soft that it was actually almost spongy when I was trying to cut it. Very difficult cut, and I intentionally made the letters very narrow, which would be almost impossible to paint using hand painting techniques. So what we're going to do is spray paint this one to demonstrate what that technique looks like. As I mentioned, the wood is extremely soft, and that really makes the problem of your paint that you spray on it bleeding into the wood fibers much worse. And when it bleeds in, instead of having nice sharp black letters, you have the black letters, but you have these little bleed lines into the wood grain. It really spoils the effect. So what I've done is I've gone overkill on this one, trying to prevent that from happening. I've put 2 coats of lacquer on here to try to seal up those pores. And when I was spraying lacquer on, I was focusing on trying to get the lacquer down into these grooves so it would seal them up. We'll see how well that works. I've also put blue painter's tape around the outside because the edges of the wood are very porous and I don't want it absorbing anything either. So what we're going to do, take it over to the painting station and spray paint it with normal black enamel paint. See how it comes out. Okay, what we're going to try to accomplish is to get the letters filled with the black paint, but not put an excessive amount on the rest of the carving. Easier said than done. Looking for any light colored spots. As you can see, the paint is not terribly directional. Okay, so now we just have to let that dry for a little while. And as soon as it's dried enough that it's not runny, I'll peel that painter's tape off and see what we've got to work with underneath. Well, doesn't that look nice? Well, not really. But I've taken the tape off the edges here, and you can barely see the design in there. So now what we have to do is sand it down, take all this paint off the outside, and hope that it looks great when we get inside it. And now we hope for a miracle with 150 grit sandpaper. Now you can see right here, our picture is coming through now. But you can also see one other thing about very soft woods with wide grain. These areas right here, there's still dark lines. That indicates that the wood was actually that much lower, so it has not sanded it down yet. Coming through, but I still got a lot of sanding to do. It's very difficult to get a softwood like this flat, truly flat. That's looking a lot better now, and looks like we don't have any significant amount of bleed into the grain here, which is what we're hoping for. So now I'm going to take it and blow it out with the air compressor, change my sandpaper so I don't keep rubbing this paint back into the pores like that right there. Then we'll come back to the camera in a moment. Here's the completed carving, and as you can see, it came out very, very nice. Some of these very narrow sections, like right here and right here, would have been extremely difficult to paint with a paintbrush by hand. So the spray painting has a huge advantage when you have very fine detail like this. Now, despite all the efforts I took to prevent bleed through into the wood fibers, we did have a little bit here, places like that, but it's not terribly noticeable. It won't really detract from the carving. So overall, I'm extremely pleased with this also. So I would say the hand painting is probably better where you have larger areas that you can comfortably get into. Either way works though, and both have great results.